many right-wing and left-wing agitators. Shall we have a little look at the whole Peter Mandelson thing? So according to everything that's been released, Peter Mandelson and Epstein were really good friends. But we already knew that. But with the letters that have been released today, it looks like Mandelson really didn't know that Epstein was a complete nonce. In fact, he seems to think that Epstein had been mistakenly sent down for the crimes that he was sent down for. And so, as a good friend, was trying to support him through the injustice. Which cues everybody saying, but Mandelson must have known that Epstein was really dodgy. And I'm not saying he didn't, but I'm just here to give other points of view. Because there are plenty of men right now sitting in homes making out that they're the loving fathers, the loving brothers, the loving grandfathers. And actually, in reality, they are the abusive people in that family. These people are really, really clever and really manipulative. Again, I'm not saying whether Mandelson is right or wrong. I'm just saying it's not beyond the realms of everybody's life to know people that have ended up defending the indefensible because they've been manipulated into believing it. Groomed by the groomers, if you like. Once more before you all kick off, I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying there are possibilities. But politically, in terms of getting rid of Mandelson for this, as, and it pains me to say it, Dan Hodges says, this is an impossible situation, right? Because the other person right in the middle of this scandal is Trump. If the British government get rid of Mandelson, that brings up a whole new area of problematic diplomacy. Cue all of you telling me that shouldn't matter, they should just get rid of Mandelson. But those bigger problems will come in the form of tariffs. And if it's tariffs, we all get hit by it. So might it be, as Dan Hodges says, now the government are stuck between a rock and a hard place? Cue everybody saying, well, they shouldn't have chosen Mandelson in the first place. But it now seems that Mandelson and Trump have been in the same circles for a wee while, which then makes a little bit more sense why Mandelson ended up being the US ambassador. Again, I'm not saying it's right, I'm just putting the hypothesis out there. And for those on the right, what I find fascinating is as they get more and more angry at Starmer for not kicking Mandelson out, they don't mention Trump. In that book, the Mandelson chapter, if you like, was platonic. This is what Trump put in that book. But also, one of the survivors of Epstein has directly accused Donald Trump of the most abhorrent crime. Like, she's literally written a statement saying that Trump was directly responsible for what happened to her. But why is there a cognitive disconnect from those on the right who can see that the Epstein thing is such a mess, but they still really like Donald? Like Isabel even went so far as to say, why did we ever have Mandelson in the first place? Because he'd been rude about Trump. What, this Trump? It's a weird one though, right? Because everybody knew that Epstein and Mandelson were friends. Everybody knew that Epstein and Trump were friends. No suggestion that Mandelson was involved in any of that stuff. And maybe a question mark around that a little bit, because of course he's gay. I don't know. Maybe they're all just hiding in plain sight. But are the media calling for Mandelson's resignation because they truly think that's the right thing? Or are they calling for his resignation because they know it's a political nightmare in terms of diplomacy and the US and how much we need the US, as much as that is painful? I mean, it's all fucked up, isn't it? As you were.